Hey, what's up, everyone? This is another breakdown here for Patrick Peterson. Patrick's one of the best defensive backs in the NFL, so we wanted to do a breakdown of him. I think he's one of the best overall athletes that we have on the planet, and we want to see some of the things that he does well, some of the things that he can improve on, and just again see what makes him such a good athlete. And I think he's a good choice just because of how big he is. So it really shows where he can get away with a few things, and also where did he end up having to compromise and maybe not get into a good position. We'll start out with that acceleration, just because for him, a big cue that a lot of people give is when you start out to begin a sprint like this is to really keep that head down. But we can see when he pushes off what type of position that puts on the spine. You get very, very rounded within the spine, which is not a good power position. We always talk about posture. We always talk about keeping good alignment with the spine. And we can see that when he pushes out here, how he's just not in a good position. I mean, he's a very, very good athlete. He has a very, very strong leg, so he was able to get away with it. But that doesn't mean that he probably could have ran a faster time in the 40 but if he would have had a better position of his head in order to make the spine alignment better. Because right here, I mean, he's still getting the knees up and everything, but he's just not able to produce as much power just because the spine is in a good position to be able to produce power. Another interesting thing that I saw with him is that, from the first kind of 8 or until he gets up to about 15, 20 yards, when he's pushing off, he's doing a very good job of creating horizontal force where he's kind of, getting all of the weight going more side to side here, which is what you want when you're beginning that acceleration. But the idea is to get up to eventually be able to be very, very vertical in the movement pattern. And he's still stuck in horizontal just because one of the things was his spine. If he got that spine in a better position, he'd be able to be out of that acceleration phase a little bit faster. But what I wanted to show was the difference in kind of the asymmetries in his body here. So we could see when he's going with his right leg, and maybe we'll wait until you get closer to being right parallel. But if we look at his right leg and how he pushes off, again, very horizontal, but he gets that heel to the butt very, very fast. So, and that's a key part of what you need to be able to do to generate a lot of speed is get that heel to butt and be able to hold that, and also get it there before this knee, the back knee, crosses that front leg. And I think he's doing that well as well. But what you really don't want to do, and what he can improve on, is where the left leg is. So the left leg, he's not as good at creating that big push-off acceleration, a little bit weaker in that left hamstring, left glute, and you can see that he doesn't get that heel all the way up to his butt. But what he is very, very strong in is his quads. He's very, very good at coming forward, which is really what a DB needs. A receiver is going to be more of a guy that's going to have a lot of hamstring strength, a lot of glute strength, and a lot of also lateral, glute strength. So TFL, glute med, those types of muscles are going to be very strong. Now, when you're talking about a defensive back, he needs to be able to rotate a lot better within the hips. And then he also needs to be able to come forward. So his quads, hip flexor is going to be really strong. And once he gets into his top end speed, he does a better job of getting that heel to the butt. You can tell that on that left leg, he's almost kind of like limping. The right side, very strong push off there. Excellent job. Left side, not as strong pushing off. He kind of rounds in the shoulder, just not as good of a position there. But then on the left side, with the right side push off, you can tell how strong that is. So, even Patrick Peterson can get a little bit better within his running form. But you can see what he is very good at, though, is he's very strong with getting that hip drive. So his legs getting all the way up there. And if you watch this, break it all down, it's all this movement is where he's getting a lot of his speed from, is the ability to get that knee up to his hip and get that up really, really fast. It's not as much about the push off and getting the verticality in the movement. He does that well, too, primarily on the right side, but for him, it's all about that leg drive. Very, very strong quads, very, very strong hip flexors. And I also wanted to go and show you guys one of the breakdowns from him getting out of his breaks, where you can see that again if we go into these little cone drills here. So there's two reasons I wanted to show this. One, because he does that T-step, where there's a little bit of opposition of what's the right thing to do there, and you can see that Patrick Peterson does that T-step. Next step's getting a little bit behind him, and then he's driving those knees. He gets those feet out a little bit, and we actually teach that too, where you bring that knee in, you get that foot out to the side as you're starting the acceleration. because it demands, again, a little bit more of those hip rotators, which I think need to be strong within defensive backs, but it also makes it so you're able to get a little bit more range of motion within those hip flexors. Okay, so we see that a lot within the Olympic sprinters, where when they're trying to get out of the blocks, they're going to go with those knees coming in, foot coming out, to really get a little bit more power within the outside part of the hip, as well as within the hip flexors quads. And you can see how he does that in order to generate force. So that'd be definitely an interesting thing to look more into. So yeah, that's the breakdown of Patrick Peterson. You know, obviously one of the best defensive backs in the NFL. Or I would look more into some of our other breakdowns. We also do other speed breakdowns as well, some receivers, stuff like that. We're going to continue to do this type of stuff for you. We also have a whole membership on our website, so all the breakdowns would be on YouTube. On our website, we have exercises. We go more into speed mechanics, running mechanics. We also go into exercises, quarterback pitching breakdowns, and exercises as well. Really a lot of information, trying to give as much value as we can within the members, and also through our YouTube videos. So if you have any suggestions for who we should break down or anything like that, would be happy to help you. Or if you have any just questions for me, please send me an email, Morey, Morey, @yourperformancelab.com. Thanks, and looking forward to talking to you again soon.